In early 2018, the Australian cricket team was engulfed in a scandal which shocked the nation.
This is the tiny piece of sticky tape that sent shockwaves through Australia's national sport.
It seemed completely beyond belief that the Australian cricket team had been involved in cheating.
This video will demonstrate that the so-called Sandpaper Gate saga of 2018 predicted the pandemic and related events which would sweep the world 2 years later. The Australian cricket team is the most popular national sports team in the country. It has been said that the captain of the Australian cricket team is almost as important as the Prime Minister of the country, if not more so. During a test match against South Africa in Cape Town in March of 2018, the Australian captain, Steve Smith, masterminded a plot to cheat by altering the ball with sandpaper.
During Saturday's play in a test match in South Africa, Australia's Cameron Bancroft was caught on camera placing a small object down his trousers after working on the ball. When questioned by umpires, he produced a sunglasses cloth, but later admitted he'd used tape to rub dirt on the ball, part of a plan backed by Captain Steve Smith.
Being the leader of the team, I'm incredibly sorry for I guess trying to bring the game into disrepute the way that we did today.
You cannot use sandpaper to alter the ball, but the Australian team did, and they were caught red-handed on camera.
So the umpires just getting together. I'm sure they talk about the light, maybe. I'm not sure. So this is the umpires having a chat to Cameron Bancroft. I think they're asking him about what he had in his pocket. That looks like the cover that you put your sunglasses in.
After the day's play, the ball tamperer, Cameron Bancroft, and the captain who masterminded this plot, Stephen Smith, spoke to the media. They admitted to the ball tampering and said that it was an error of judgment and they would learn from it and it wouldn't happen again.
It's not on. It's certainly not on, and it won't happen again. I can promise you that under my leadership.
You know, I sit before you today, and you know, I'm not proud of what's happened at all.
Steve, will you consider stepping down as captain after this?
No, I won't be considering stepping down. I still think I'm the right person for the job. You know, we'll move past this. It's a big error in judgment, but we'll learn from it and move past it.
However, the Australian media was apoplectic, and soon enough, heads would roll. The captain, Steve Smith, was banned for 1 year and stripped of the captaincy.
To all of my teammates, to fans of cricket all over the world, and to all Australians who are disappointed and angry, I'm sorry. A questionable decision. Think about who you're affecting. You're affecting your parents, and to see the way my old man's been.
His deputy, David Warner, was also banned for 1 year.
I'm here to take full responsibility of my actions, of the part that I played in, that happened on day 3 in Newlands, in Cape Town. And I'm extremely sorry. I really, really regret that.
Cameron Bancroft, a young player in the team who had been instructed by Smith and Warner to attempt to tamper with the ball, was also banned from the game.
I want to say that I'm very sorry. I love the game of cricket and playing for my nation and my state. There is no greater pride to me. I am extremely disappointed and regret my actions.
The coach of the team, Darren Lehman, maintained his innocence and lack of knowledge about the ball tampering plot. However, he soon resigned from his post, jumping before being pushed.
I just want to let you know that this will be my last test as head coach of the Australian cricket team as I'm stepping down. After seeing events in the media today with Steve Smith and Cameron Bancroft, the feeling is that Australian cricket needs to move forward, and this is the right thing to do. I really felt for Steve And as I saw him crying in front of the media, and all the players are really hurting. As I've stated before, I had no prior knowledge of the incident and do not condone what happened at all. My family and I have copped a lot of abuse over the last week, and it's taken its toll on them. As many of you sit in this room will know, life on the road means a lot of time away from our loved ones, and after speaking with my family at length over the last few days, it's the right time to step away.
Sandpapergate marked the darkest moment in Australian sports history. But how did this event in any way predict the pandemic which would occur 2 years later? To answer this question, we must first consider when the World Health Organization officially declared that COVID-19 could be characterized as a pandemic.
WHO has been assessing this outbreak around the clock, and we're deeply concerned both by the alarming levels of spread and severity and by the alarming levels of inaction. We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
March 11, 2020. This was the same day that Tom Hanks was announced to have been diagnosed as COVID positive.
Actor Tom Hanks says he and his wife, actress Rita Wilson, have been diagnosed with COVID-19. Hanks posted a statement on Instagram saying the two were traveling in Australia when they were tested. The post read in part, quote, "We, Hanks, will be tested, observed, and isolated for as long as public health and safety requires."
Tom Hanks being the canary in the coal mine for Corona.
But why me as host? Well, for one, I have been the celebrity canary in the coal mine for the coronavirus.
For these reasons and many more, the pandemic is informally known as 311. Now let's take a look at the scores of the match in question, where the Australian team committed the ball tampering, plunging the national team into disrepute and leading to the sacking and banning of the captain, the vice-captain, and the leading batsman, as well as the resignation of the coach. It was the third match of a 4-match series as part of Australia's tour of South Africa. In this match, South Africa batted first and scored 311 runs. 311. This might seem like mere coincidence. You might be thinking that I'm reaching or grasping at straws. Now let me ask you this. After months of lockdowns around the world, what was the first event for which the masses were allowed, perhaps even encouraged, to get outside and protest? If you guessed it had something to do with George Floyd, you'd be correct. George Floyd was reported to have passed away on May 25, 2020, just months into the pandemic. This led to so-called Black Lives Matter protests, not just in the United States, but around the world.
For the 12th night in a row, a coast-to-coast call to action, turning violent in Portland, Oregon, where police clashed with protesters well into the night. And in Seattle, where police appeared to clear protesters with flashbangs after the police chief ordered the suspension of tear gas and crowd control Friday. But those violent outbursts that often overshadowed the beginning of this national inflection point, now mostly absent. Waves of peaceful protests marched on, bigger than ever before. And as the protests surged across the world in his name, the family of George Floyd held a memorial in his memory.
Now let's take a look at Australia's score in the cricket match in question. 255 runs. That's 255, as in May 25. Okay, you might think this is all just a coincidence. It has to just be a coincidence, right? Recall that Tom Hanks was reported to be COVID positive on March 11, 2020.
Actor Tom Hanks says he and his wife, actress Rita Wilson, have been diagnosed with COVID-19.
The same day, the World Health Organization announced the pandemic.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
And recall that Tom Hanks was the canary in the coal mine for coronavirus.
I have been the celebrity canary in the coal mine for the coronavirus.
At the 77th Golden Globes, held just weeks before 3/11, here is what Tom Hanks said during his acceptance speech for the Cecil B. DeMille Award.
It's those moments as an actor where everybody I have ever worked with has helped me get to that place. Sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes it's 11 at night, in which you just have to somehow put it all together, have faith in what the process is, and go there.
3:11.
Sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes it's 11 at night.
But how does Tom Hanks factor into the Sandpaper Gate affair? First of all, where was Tom Hanks located when he was diagnosed with corona?
Actor Tom Hanks says he and his wife, actress Rita Wilson, have been diagnosed with COVID-19. Hanks posted a statement on Instagram saying the two were traveling in Australia.
Now consider the case of Cameron Bancroft, the man who used the sandpaper to attempt to tamper with the ball. How many runs did he score in the first innings of this match, immediately prior to his sandpaper shenanigans? 77. Let's return to Tom Hanks' acceptance speech at the Golden Globes.
Sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes it's 11 at night.
This was the 77th Golden Globes. Cameron Bancroft of Australia scores 77 runs in a match where the opposition scored 311.
Sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes it's 11 at night.
The 77th Golden Globes, where Tom Hanks mentioned 3 and 11.
3 o'clock in the morning, it's 11 at night.
Shortly before boarding a plane to Australia.
I'm about to leave to go to Australia.
It was during the third match of this 4-match series that the Australians attempted to tamper with the ball. Despite the fact that he was banned from the 4th match of the series, Cameron Bancroft still ended up as Australia's leading run scorer for the series, finishing with 223 runs in total. Only one other player scored the exact same number of runs for the series, South Africa's Quinton de Kock. The hint being given here is to look at Quinton's score in the 3rd match, the infamous ball tampering match at Cape Town, when South Africa scored 311 runs. When we inspect the scorecard, what do we notice? Quinton scored 3 runs from 11 deliveries. 311.
Sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes it's 11 at night.
So how can it be that in a cricket match we already suspect of being littered with thinly veiled references to 311, a pandemic which would begin 2 years later, we see yet another 311 encoded by way of the player's series run tally, mirroring that of the man who used the sandpaper to alter the ball, leading to the event now known as Sandpaper Gate. And how can it be that the very same player would himself score 77 runs in the first innings, mirroring the 77th Golden Globes, where Tom Hanks said this?
Sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes it's 11 at night.
The same Tom Hanks who would be the corona canary in the coal mine.
I have been the celebrity canary in the coal mine for the coronavirus.
Reportedly diagnosed with corona on 3/11.
Actor Tom Hanks says he and his wife, actress Rita Wilson, have been diagnosed with COVID-19.
Who flew from those Golden Globes to a country on the other side of the world, none other than Australia.
Hanks posted a statement on Instagram saying the two were traveling in Australia.
3/11, 3/11, 3/11. Australia, Australia. Okay, this all seems like too much. There's no way a cricket scandal stemming from a match in Cape Town, South Africa, could possibly predict a pandemic 2 years later, right? Following the scandal, a documentary series for Amazon Prime was filmed, focused on the Australian cricket team as they attempted to pick up the pieces after the disaster of Sandpaper Gate.
Some tests last 5 days. Theirs lasted 2 years. Reputation broken. Character questioned. All eyes were on them, waiting for them to slip.
That is pressure.
When the weight of the nation meets the eyes of the world, you either toughen up or tough it out.
Hardly watch. Oh, and he's done it.
England team out of you blokes.
Kane is getting piled on the Aussies now.
Cummins, this is Australia.
With unprecedented access,
Steve Smith is back.
join the Australian cricket team as they face the test.
This is a complete Cinderella story, this.
Remember, Sandpapergate occurred in March of 2018. This was 2 years before the World Health Organization announced the pandemic on March 11, 2020.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
According to Wikipedia, on what day was this new series for Amazon, The Test, A New Era for Australia's team, released? March 11, 2020.
Sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes it's 11 at night.
Sandpapergate predicted the pandemic. Tell me what you think about this in the comment section below. There you will also find links to material more detailed than this video, looking at the myriad so-called coincidences surrounding 3/11, 9/11, and more. You have no idea how far the sinkhole goes, and to be honest, you probably don't want to know. Go back to sleep. You are feeling very sleepy. You're getting very, very sleepy. Rock-a-bye, babe. Wake up. Remember how I showed you that Quinton de Kock scored 3 runs from 11 deliveries? Take a look at how he was dismissed. He was caught by Tim Paine off the bowling of Patrick Cummins. Consider this. After Steve Smith was sacked, Australia needed a new captain.
All 3 players who have been reported will leave South Africa tomorrow. Tim Paine has been officially appointed captain of the Australian men's test team.
Sometime later, Tim Paine was also embroiled in a scandal of his own, this time off-field.
Good evening. Australian cricket has been rocked to its core on the eve of the Ashes series, with captain Tim Paine forced to resign over a sexting scandal.
He was then replaced by... Go on, guess.
Australia has a new cricket captain tonight, and he's a local, Western Sydney's Pat Cummins.
This is the tiny piece of sticky tape that sent shockwaves through Australia's national sport.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
I have been the celebrity canary in the coal mine for the coronavirus.
Sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes it's 11 at night.
I have to say, I do listen to the conversations and enjoy them.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you a fan of GLB?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
John LeBon, I would be on your server. I would be everything. I love your show.
Yeah.
I would like to give a shout out to a drunk JLB. Very sentimental. He kept saying, man. It was funny. It was cute.
John LeBon called it a dirty little secret, and I think that is such a perfect...
If I have a baby, I'm going to call it JLB.